What's going on, fellow fantasy basketball lovers? Welcome back to District of Buckets Fantasy Basketball this week. Welcome to all the new subscribers. We about doubled our growth once again last week. If you are new here, which about 85% of you are, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. We love to stay in touch with our fans. We got some good stuff coming up for you today, so let's roll the tape. All right. Now we got to move into our next segment, one of the more popular segments, buy low, sell high. This was kind of a weird week because a lot of people kind of they played better than they usually do. And there's a couple of people that played a lot worse than they normally do. And the first guy that I want to talk about that played a lot better than he normally does is Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre gets a lot of slander in the basketball community. He's got the pieces to put it together, and it shows because he just went for his career high in points. He snagged a 69 fantasy point performance. So if there was ever a time to sell high on Kelly Oubre, it's right now, after he's shown that he can put the pieces together. And I think that should be kind of how you word it when you are talking in these trade negotiations. Like, he's just shown on this shorthanded Warriors team that he has the pieces to go get buckets, and he has the pieces to play as a tenacious defender. So I would try and sell Kelly Oubre high right now before it's too late and that 69 fantasy point performance kind of wears off in people's minds. And then my buy low candidate would be a guy that's been struggling a little bit, coming back from an injury. He's working in with two other stars, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker has been struggling to find his rhythm, struggling to find his shot, and that changed a little bit in the fourth quarter of one of his last games when he hit that shot to put the game away. Jason Tatum was trying to sell. Jaylen Brown wasn't getting his normal buckets, but Kemba Walker came out and proved that he's still a force in this league to be reckoned with. And showing that little light has convinced me that he's a good buy low candidate right now, and he is going to get back on track before the end of the season. Especially with the Celtics, they tend to have a lot of injuries. Peyton Pritchard just came back. Marcus Smart is currently out. We got a 3-man rotation at center. So we're definitely a very guard-focused team and guard and Jason Tatum-focused team. So look for Kemba Walker to start picking it up. And I think he's the best definition of a buy low candidate right now.
That's a good one, yeah.
Carl, who do you have for buy low and sell high?
All right, so for buy low, sell high, my first person is more of I'd say not really, it's kind of not really quite any of those. It's more of a don't believe the hype right now. As for Josh Jackson, who's coming off of a career high 28-point performance against the Lakers, and they went to multiple overtimes. Just because a lot of people may not have watched the games or noticed that was the flow of the game and just looked at the numbers. I think he has is a game of 22 points, 2 games back. And it looks like he's kind of if you look at the numbers straight up, it looks like he's kind of figuring it out, which he is to his own extent, but it's not going to be fantasy relevant in my opinion. So if you just so happen, this is me again, just trying to be crafty with trying to get a trade piece, a guy you can pick up and add maybe to, try to sprinkle a little extra to get somebody. Josh Jackson is a guy I don't want on my team, but has shown enough recently to maybe entice somebody else into maybe, making a move with him and maybe another player. You got to have those guys to try to spice up deals. And then I'd say my next guy I would love to talk about is actually a superstar for actually buy low, and it's Devin Booker. Mostly because he's another guy who the numbers aren't really adding up because he's missed so many games so far. And what a lot of people aren't really noticing is that a lot of people are kind of at least fantasy wise, you can kind of see him as just a big name who's either not performing. A lot of it is he's still kind of getting in rhythm due to the way the schedule's worked out for the Suns and the way his season's been coming together. And I think he'd be a perfect candidate to give up assets for right now on your fantasy team, because I feel like the rest of the season he's only going to trend upward. and the more he gets comfortable playing with Chris Paul, and he's shown like he had a dagger earlier in the week, like still gonna have stellar games, but like those borderline career high games and stuff like that, like those are all in the future for him, and I would love to have him on my team for that. So I would buy him now if you can get him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Devin Booker was a guy that really shined in the bubble last year and hasn't necessarily returned to that kind of form yet. I mean, it's a short off season, and sometimes it'll take some guys a little bit to get back into the swing of things when their mind wasn't necessarily in it at the beginning. So Devin Booker is, definitely another great definition of a buy low candidate at the moment.